folks, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ashley of Ashley Plants and Reads, and today I am kicking off something brand new, something I've never done before. Gonna kind of make it up as I go. And so that is a reading vlog. So over the course of the next 5 days, I'm gonna kind of take you along with me as I live my life and try to show you just how I fit reading into my life, into the pockets of time I find in my day where I can do that, because it is a priority for me. Something that I do try to be pretty intentional about. Today is Friday afternoon. It's about 2 o'clock. My kids currently are having some screen time, and Mom's gonna sit down and do some reading, and I thought I'd kick the vlog off this way. So yeah, so we'll see how this goes. I don't really know what to expect, and we're gonna figure this out together. The book I'm currently working on is called Five Wives by Joan Thomas. I'm about 100 pages in and loving it so far. I heard about this one from writer, speaker, preacher that I have followed for a long time, and she's talked about it in a couple of different places. Sarah Bessey, she's Canadian, and this is a Canadian writer. But the premise, the basic story, it's a novel based on a true story, and I was really intrigued by this novel because the story that it's based on is kind of a legendary story in circles that I grew up in, the evangelical church and tradition, which I no longer really affiliate with or identify as an evangelical, like completely abandoned that tradition, as a matter of fact. I do still consider myself a Christian, but barely most days, to be perfectly honest. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. The main events of this story happened in the 50s, and I remember even in college, I went to a Baptist college, and even then this story still had so much power and relevance. I mean, it was kind of a forced relevance, to be honest, but anyway, there's just a real intense mythology around this story, and that is the story of Jim Elliot and Nate Saint and the other missionaries in that group that participated in what was known as Operation Auca. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. I really should look that up. That is a tribe in Ecuador that up until this group of missionaries came around had not had any contact with the outside world, and these missionaries decided that it was their call, that God was calling them to minister to this tribe. I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about the typical, well, really missions as I was brought up to understand them. It's very, I see it now, I see all the problems with it now, and all of the colonialist, imperialist, racist problems with it, and that's a subject for a whole other video. Anyway, so what happened with these missionaries is eventually they slowly tried to make contact. The men were all killed by the tribe. Their wives and their children still were still alive, and they came back and, you know, told this story and created this mythology around these men. And of course they became seen as martyrs for God and martyrs for the kingdom and the whole thing. And Elisabeth Elliot went on to write many, many books, including some of like the foundational purity culture books. again, that's a whole other topic for a whole other day. Anyway, getting back to this book, this is a fictionalized retelling of that story from the wives' perspective. So there were 5 missionaries, so 5 wives, and it's a fictionalized but deeply researched retelling of that story. So kind of think like the Poisonwood Bible, but for the Jim Elliot story. And I'm just thrilled for this because Poisonwood is one of my favorite books. You know, Barbara Kingsolver is one of my very favorite authors. And I actually, surprisingly, was introduced to Poisonwood Bible at my Baptist school. It was assigned reading for a world civilizations class that I took. And I mean, just scales falling from my eyes, the whole thing. When I heard about this book, I knew immediately that I had to get my hands on it. And so I'm about 100 pages in and absolutely loving it so far. And listen, if you still hold this story in high esteem and high regard, just keep moving. But if, like me, you have been doing some deconstruction and decolonizing, you're probably gonna want to get your hands on this book. And I'm not even done with it yet. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'm gonna sit here and read it. I've got my cold brew with the homemade vanilla syrup that my husband made to go with it. And I'm just gonna spend a little time reading because my kids are being nannied by the screens right now. So mama can have a moment. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. And I'll update you in a little while. Let's see how this goes. Sorry if you can hear the air conditioner in the background. My husband is working upstairs and it gets really hot up there, and we have to keep the air conditioner running for him pretty much all the time. So anyway, so I read about 30 more pages, and I don't know if this book would land quite so well for people who didn't grow up with this story, like being so grand, and like the mythology of it looming so big over you. But my gosh, it's good. It is really good. Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to know how to talk about it if you don't have like background knowledge of the story, and like not just the story, but like the weight that it carried and like placed on people in evangelical circles. Just, I mean, because being a missionary was like the end all be all, like ultimate vocation and calling of God, and to have the opportunity to be a martyr for God the way that, you know, Jim Elliot and Nate Saint and these other guys were, and the long suffering goodness of their wives, and anyway, it's a whole thing, and I don't know how to talk about it and explain it if you didn't have that experience with the story. So anyway, so it's about 3 o'clock, and I'm gonna go check the mail, and then I'm probably gonna film a plan with me, for Monday. And then by that point, it will probably be time to make sure I've done the dishes. So my husband can cook dinner. And I don't know what our plans are for tonight. We often like to have reading dates on the weekends. I'm in our library. We call it our library. I mean, we've created the room to be that. But my husband and I like to sit in here on the weekends and put some music on the turntable and have some drinks and read and pause and chit chat with each other. I mean, I realize how corny and nerdy that sounds, but that really is one of our favorite things to do. And it's one of the reasons we fell in love and got married, because we shared that. So anyway, that's my plan for the next little bit. I would love to have a reading date tonight, but we'll see. If we do, I'll see if my husband is willing to let me film some of it. He's a little camera shy, so yeah, I'll catch up with you soon. Reading date night. Cheers, honey.
Cheers.
What are you reading tonight?
Stephen King, Different Seasons, I think that's what it's called, and Philip Levine poetry, The Last Shift.
Ooh, I think that's a poet laureate. Anyway, we're gonna sip our White Russians because they're nostalgic for us, mostly, and he's already mostly done with his. We have Leon Bridges on the turntable. This is our reading date.
And the dog.
And the dog. Hi, Luna. Hi. So it is Sunday night, about 6:30, almost 7, I think. So been a little while since I checked in. We had a great reading date Friday night. We actually ended up, I don't even know how we got on the topic, but we ended up staying up till 1 o'clock, debating the merits of a lawsuit that the Conan Doyle estate is bringing against Netflix and Penguin Random House and like the author of this young adult series, that the new movie Enola Holmes, which is being released on Netflix like next week, I think, or this week when you're watching this. Anyway, so the Conan Doyle estate is suing all these people for basically copyright infringement, and it's a very interesting case where all but the last 10 of the Sherlock Holmes stories are in the public domain, and so the lawsuit is alleging that it's in the last 10 stories where Sherlock begins to have like human emotion and show warmth, and you know, up until that point, he was just cold, calculating sociopath, basically. And so they're alleging that this new movie and the books that they're based on all show Sherlock with, you know, those emotions and that warmth. He did not license the character and like other properties before forging ahead. Anyway, so they're saying that they're infringing on the copyright. So anyway, we thought it was really interesting. We ended up debating like whether or not that was legit or dumb or whatever until 1 o'clock in the morning, and we've read like the whole like actual document, which was really interesting. It kind of read like a senior undergrad thesis paper. with like a few legal terms thrown in there. Anyway, that's what reading days usually end up looking like for us. So I haven't done a whole lot of reading since Friday night, I guess. But I did read almost 100 pages over the course of Friday, and so I'm about halfway through the book, and shoo, still working on Five Wives, and probably will be, I don't know. I hope to read it a little bit more, but anyway, I just wanted to check in and update because it's been a while. So that's where things are. I'm kind of taking an evening to myself while my husband is in charge of bedtime and story time and yada, yada, yada. And so hopefully I can get a little bit of reading in. So I will check in later. Hi, Sunday night. Not great at this. I'm just not in the habit. So I guess it's just like a muscle that I have to work up. So anyway, I've also not really done any reading since Friday night. Sometimes that just happens. Saturday, Andrew and I played games at night though, which was super fun. We like playing like board games and tabletop games. So I don't know if you've figured it out yet, but we're super nerds. So there's that. Yeah, so it's Saturday, or no, it's Monday night. Today we did some schoolwork. I ran some errands, picked up groceries, went to Target and actually like browsed through Target for the first time in 6 months, which was weird. And kids are supposed to be having their quiet reading time before lights out, but usually it's just jump on the bed wildly time until we turn the lights off, and then it's just jump on the bed wildly in the dark time. So you may hear them. That's what they're doing. I've got my book, of course. Like I said, I've not really read much more. I actually didn't end up reading anything last night. I just watched Parks and Rec till almost midnight. And then my cousin, who's also actually my god sister, she's a freshman in college this year, and her first college English paper is due this week. And so she sent it over to me and asked me to just kind of look over it and make some edits for her. So I have that. I had to print it out because I'm a pen and paper girl. It's just easier for me. I had my trusty red pen. So I did that before dinner, and now I just need to go back into Google Docs and put them all in there and send it back to her so she can get her draft finalized before her paper's due later. So I'm gonna work on that, watch some YouTube, and then I'm gonna sit here and read. I've got my glass of wine, I've got my cozy corner of the couch. Hopefully it'll be a nice quiet Monday night, aside from the monkeys in their bedroom. Hey folks, it's 7:30 on Wednesday night, and you may be able to hear my family. They're playing a video game. Yeah, so yesterday mid-morning, my depression flared up, and I have been mostly in bed asleep for the last 2 days. So yeah, that I haven't done much reading as a result. And I told you at the beginning of this reading vlog that I was going to share with you how reading fits into my life, and this is something that affects my reading life. on a fairly regular basis. I find that when I have a depression flare-up, I cannot sit down and read. I do listen to more audiobooks usually, and I did start a new audiobook yesterday afternoon. I only listened to about a chapter, but I started Florence Adler Swims Forever. Newer release. Basically, this girl, she goes out for a swim. It's like right after or right between the two wars. And so she goes out for a swim in the ocean and dies. And that like happens in the first chapter. And her mother decides that the family is not going to tell her sister, who is on bed rest for in like the final stages of her pregnancy, a complicated pregnancy. And so she doesn't want to risk the stress of that complicating further the sister's pregnancy and like hurting the baby. So that's the basic premise. And I've only just gotten to the part where mom is trying to convince the family not to tell the sister. So yeah, it's interesting. It'll be interesting, but I didn't get much read. I listened to it, and I have not read any more on Five Wives yet. This is they're playing Frogger, and they get very excited. So anyway, so I slept until almost 7 o'clock this evening. And I am about to sit in my bed and eat. Husband has been on kid duty. I did get up and shower and like put makeup on this morning, and then the kids and I they got a new atlas crate from KiwiCo. It's like a geography thing. It's one of the things we're using for homeschool. Anyway, so I did that box with them today, and so between the shower and the box, all of my energy was zapped, and I passed out for a lot of hours. So we'll see how that affects my sleep tonight, but I'm hoping that I can at least listen to my book. That's the plan for now. I don't hide the fact that I have depression and anxiety, depression-induced anxiety. My anxiety usually is more depression-induced. I deal with both of those things, and that is something that has been with me since I had kids. It started out as postpartum, went undiagnosed for far too long, frankly, and just kind of snowballed on itself, and it's something that it's just part of my life. And through therapy, I've learned that I think I was depressed a lot of the time in college and maybe even some of high school. And so I don't think this is brand new to my experience, but what is brand new is that I finally have language and an understanding for what it actually is and can look like, different ways it can manifest. And so I do see a therapist. I do take medication for it. It's been a while since I had a flare-up like this, which is a really good thing, but so this is just part of my reality, and I really tried to talk about it openly. It's just something that I think is really important to talk about so that we can normalize it and destigmatize it. So how's that for realness on a Wednesday night? Yeah, so I'm gonna eat some dinner. I'll check in with y'all at some point. Hi y'all, it's Thursday night, about 9:30. Kids are in bed, and I just finished cleaning bathrooms. Tomorrow the kids are headed off to my parents for 2 nights. for a sleepover so my husband and I can celebrate our 9th anniversary, which is actually today, but it's just been a normal run-of-the-mill day, but the real celebrating starts tomorrow. I did get quite a bit of reading in last night. I actually ended up listening to close to 4 hours of my audiobook, and then read maybe another 40 pages in 5 Wives. So that's great. I didn't finish anything this week. I had kind of hoped that I'd be able to end this blog with a nice tidy wrap up of at least one book, but that's not gonna happen because life happened instead. So this was a weird week to do my first reading vlog, but I think I like them, and depending on the reception, I'll do more. I like talking about what I'm reading and how I read and books and the reading life just in general. So it's part of the reason I started this channel, so I could do more of that. Anyway, so that's all for tonight. I'm going to close this out now. Looking forward to my anniversary weekend. 2 kid-free nights, 3 kid-free days, and just eating a lot of good food, spending uninterrupted time with my husband to celebrate 9 years of being married. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you feel so inclined. Let me know what you were reading this week, and I will see you soon. Bye.